The Han River glittered like broken diamonds under Seoul's midnight skyline as Amarachi Okafor balanced a tray of crystalline champagne flutes, her caramel-toned hands steady despite the exhaustion weighing down her bones. 23 years old, with deep brown eyes that held galaxies of unspoken dreams and natural coils pulled back into a sleek bun, she moved through the luxury yacht's upper deck like a ghost, seen but never truly noticed. Her white server's uniform was crisp despite the humid August air, but beneath the fabric, her body screamed for rest. 16-hour shifts were becoming her normal. This floating palace of marble and gold belonged to the Choi family, Seoul's untouchable elite, and tonight's party celebrated their youngest son's engagement to some K-pop starlet Amarachi had never heard of. She didn't belong here. Not among women dripping in Cartier and men whose watches cost more than her family's house in Enugu. But the agency paid 400,000 Korean wons for overnight yacht events, nearly $300, and Amarachi needed every one. Her younger brother Chidiabeer's university tuition was due in 2 weeks. Her mother's diabetes medication had tripled in price. Her father's taxi business in Lagos had collapsed after his vehicle was stolen. The weight of 4,000 miles and 3 dependent lives pressed against her chest every single day. More champagne here. A woman's shrill voice cut through the pounding EDM music. Amarachi turned, her professional smile already in place, and found herself face to face with Park Seo-yeon, 6 months pregnant, designer maternity dress hugging her swollen belly, diamond tennis bracelet catching the yacht's ambient lighting. Beautiful in that manufactured Seoul way, pale skin, surgically enhanced features, hair extensions cascading down her back. But her eyes burned with something ugly. "You," Seo-yeon said in broken English, her Seoul accent thick. "You are the Nigerian girl, yes?" "Yes, Amarachi replied carefully, years of customer service training keeping her voice neutral. "Would you like champagne?" Seo-yeon's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. She reached for a glass, her movements deliberate, calculated. Then her hand slipped. The champagne exploded across Seo-yeon's white Chanel dress, the liquid spreading like blood across virgin snow. "You clumsy bitch!" Seo-yeon screamed, switching to rapid Korean that Amarachi's 6 months in Seoul couldn't fully translate, but the venom needed no interpretation. "I'm so sorry, I didn't," Amarachi started, but Seo-yeon's hands were already shoving her backward. Hard. Amarachi's hip hit the yacht's railing. Her tray clattered to the deck. The world tilted, and suddenly there was nothing beneath her feet but air and inevitability. She fell. The scream that tore from her throat died the moment she hit the water. The Han River swallowed her whole, black and merciless and cold beyond comprehension. Her uniform became an anchor, dragging her down into darkness that had no bottom. "I can't swim," her brain screamed uselessly. "I can't swim, I can't swim, I can't." Water filled her mouth, her nose, her lungs. Amarachi kicked frantically, but couldn't tell which way was up. The yacht's lights became distant stars, unreachable, fading. Chidiabeer, she thought as her body grew heavy. "Mama. Papa. I'm sorry." Then strong arms wrapped around her waist, and the world exploded into motion. Kang Tae-jin had been watching her all night. He shouldn't have been. He'd come to this yacht party strictly for business, to meet with Choi Enterprises' CEO about a consulting arrangement that would legitimize his organization's money through their import-export channels. His black Armani suit was unbuttoned at the collar, revealing the intricate dragon tattoo that coiled up his neck, a mark of the Kang family's underground empire that ruled Seoul's shadows. At 28, Tae-jin had built his reputation on calculated violence and strategic brilliance. His long black hair, usually tied back, now hung loose around his sharp cheekbones. His dark eyes missed nothing, assessed everyone, trusted no one. But this woman, this Nigerian server with skin like warm honey and movements like water, she'd caught his attention in ways that made him deeply uncomfortable. When he saw Seo-yeon push her, time fragmented. His ex-fiancée. The woman whose pregnancy had trapped him in an engagement he'd never wanted. The woman who'd been sleeping with his best friend while wearing his ring. And now she'd just committed murder in front of 300 witnesses. Tae-jin's body moved before his mind could intervene. He ripped off his jacket, kicked away his Italian leather shoes, and dove from the upper deck. 30 feet down into his worst nightmare. Water. The thing that had killed his parents when he was 12. Their Mercedes sinking into the Han River during a winter storm, their hands pressed against the windows as ice-cold water filled the car, their mouths forming his name as they drowned while he watched helplessly from the bridge above. He'd never been in water deeper than a bathtub since. But his arms cut through the river anyway, his lungs burning, his childhood trauma screaming at him to surface, to save himself, to let her go. Not again. Something primal roared inside him. Not again. Not again. He found her sinking, eyes closed, body limp, hair spreading around her head like a dark halo. Beautiful even in death. Taijin wrapped his arms around her waist and kicked upward with everything he had, fighting against her waterlogged uniform, against his own terror, against the ghosts of his parents pulling him down. They broke the surface. Oxygen burned his throat. The yacht's crew threw a life preserver. Hands pulled them onto the deck. Amarachi lay still, lips tinged blue, chest motionless. "She's not breathing," someone screamed. Taijin dropped to his knees beside her, muscle memory from mandatory first aid training taking over. He tilted her head back, pinched her nose, and pressed his mouth to hers. 1 breath. 2. 3. Around them, phones appeared. Recording. Always recording. The party guests formed a circle, champagne forgotten, social media updated in real time. Taijin pressed the heel of his hand against Amarachi's sternum, counting compressions. "Come on," he whispered in Korean. "Come on, don't you dare." Amarachi's eyes flew open. Her brown eyes met his dark ones, and the world stopped spinning. They were so close he could count her eyelashes. See the flecks of amber in her irises. Feel her breath on his lips. Something electric and ancient and completely inexplicable passed between them. Recognition, destiny, the universe clicking 2 puzzle pieces into place. Amarachi coughed violently, water streaming from her mouth. Taijin helped her turn onto her side, his hand gentle on her back as she expelled the Han River from her lungs. Then survival instinct transformed into rage. Amarachi's gaze locked onto Seo-yun, who stood nearby with one hand on her pregnant belly, smirking like she'd won some twisted game. The slap echoed across the deck like a gunshot. "You tried to kill me." Amarachi screamed, her voice raw, her Nigerian accent thick with fury. The crowd gasped. Seo-yun's eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. She lunged forward, designer heels clicking, manicured nails extended like weapons. Taijin stepped between them, his voice dropping to that deadly calm that made grown men confess their sins. "Touch her again, and I'll make sure you disappear. Pregnancy won't save you." Seo-yun froze. She knew what he was capable of. The Kang family didn't make idle threats. Taijin's second-in-command, Yoon Minute-jae, pushed through the crowd, his phone screen glowing. "Boss, we have a problem." Someone was live-streaming the party. The videos already hit 500,000 views. Want to know how a viral video turned a drowning into Seoul's biggest scandal? Keep watching. 3 hours earlier, Amarachi's reality had been very different. She'd stood in her Showbox apartment in Itaewon, 1 room, shared bathroom down the hall, mold creeping up the walls, counting 50,000 Korean wons notes for the 3rd time. The number never changed. After sending money home to Nigeria for Chidiober's tuition deposit and her mother's insulin, she had 180,000 Korean wons left. About $135. Rent was due in 4 days, and her landlord didn't accept excuses in any language. Her phone had buzzed with a message from her brother. "Sister, the university said if I don't pay the full amount by next week, they'll give my spot to someone else. Please." Amarachi had closed her eyes against tears that wouldn't help anyone. She'd come to Seoul 8 months ago with a dream and a scholarship offer to Seoul Fashion Institute's modeling program. Her ex-boyfriend Obina had been waiting at Incheon Airport with promises of support. "Baby, let me hold your scholarship money while we find you an apartment. You know I'll take care of you." Trust had cost her everything. Obina disappeared the next day with 15 million Korean wons, everyone her family had scraped together, every sacrifice they'd made. Without the upfront payment, the scholarship evaporated. Without the scholarship, the agencies wouldn't look at her portfolio. The dream died before it began. Now, standing soaking wet on the yacht deck with Taijin's jacket wrapped around her shoulders, Amarachi realized her life had just detonated in ways she couldn't comprehend. "We need to get you checked by a doctor," Min Chio said, already on the phone with someone. "I can't afford a hospital," Amarachi said automatically, then immediately regretted revealing her poverty. Taijin's expression shifted, something dangerous and protective flickering in his eyes. "I'll pay for it. I don't need your charity." "It's not charity. It's basic human decency." The yacht docked at Uedo Marina 40 minutes later. Paramedics checked Amarachi's vitals, declared her miraculously unharmed except for shock. Taijin paid before she could protest. Her supervisor from Golden Star Catering appeared, his face tight with corporate anxiety. "You're fired. Too much drama. Bad for our reputation." Just like that, one of her 3 jobs evaporated. Taijin pulled out his wallet and handed the supervisor triple Amarachi's monthly salary. "Consider this severance and a reminder to hire security so your staff don't get assaulted." Amarachi wanted to scream at him to stop, to let her handle her own life. But the truth was, she was drowning even before she hit the water. The drive back to Seoul happened in surreal silence. Amarachi sat in Taijin's Mercedes, watching the city lights blur past tinted windows. Her phone had died from constant notifications. When Taijin walked her to her apartment door at 3 a.m. and saw where she lived, something hardened in his expression. "You live here? 3 jobs and you live here?" "Seoul is expensive when you're supporting a family back home," Amarachi said defensively. "I know. I was orphaned at 12. Built everything I have from nothing." His voice carried weight. "Get some rest. Tomorrow will be complicated." By morning, Amarachi's recharged phone exploded with notifications. 20 million views. Trending worldwide. Her face everywhere. Headlines in Korean, English, Japanese. Korean Mafia boss saves mystery woman in dramatic rescue. Kang Taijin's secret girlfriend revealed. Park Seo-yeon's rival, the beautiful Nigerian taking Seoul by storm. Except she wasn't anyone. Just a broke waitress drowning in poverty. Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Miss Okafor, this is Director Han from DK Entertainment. We represent Kang Taijin. I'd like to discuss a business opportunity. A car will arrive in 1 hour." He hung up before she could refuse. The black Mercedes arrived exactly on time. DK Entertainment's headquarters gleamed in Gangnam, glass and steel and money. Director Han waited in a top-floor conference room with lawyers and Taijin himself, looking uncomfortable in a tailored suit. "The viral video created a unique situation," Director Han began. "The public is invested in your story. This organic publicity is priceless." "There is no story," Amarachi said. "He saved me from drowning. That's it." The public doesn't care about facts. They care about narrative. Director Han slid a contract across the table. 6 months. You pose as Taijin's girlfriend. Public appearances, photo shoots, interviews. In exchange, full modeling training, portfolio development, agency connections, and financial compensation. Amarachi looked at the number and felt her heart stop. 500 million Korean wons. About $375,000. Her mother's full diabetes treatment. Chidyabua's 4-year university education. A real apartment. Security. Everything. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you're beautiful and the camera loves you. Because Taijin's image is too dangerous. He needs humanizing. You're perfect." Amarachi turned to Taijin. "What do you think?" "I think you deserve a chance at your dream. Your ex-boyfriend stole it. This is a way to take it back. By lying to millions of people. Isn't modeling playing different versions of yourself for the camera?" Director Han leaned forward. "There's one complication. Seo-yeon claims the baby is Taijin's. She'll resist your presence." "Is the baby his?" Amarachi asked directly. The silence was deafening. "That's complicated," Taijin finally said. Is that a yes or a no? Does it change your decision? Amarachi looked at the contract again. At the lifeline. At her mother coughing blood. At Chidiobur's dreams dying. At herself drowning. She picked up the pen. The first photo shoot happened 3 days later in a Gangnam studio that cost more per hour than Amarachi's former monthly rent. Closer, the photographer commanded in Korean. You're supposed to be in love. Make me believe it. Taejin's hand rested on Amarachi's waist, gentle but firm. She wore a designer dress that hugged her curves, her natural hair styled in elegant twists. He'd changed into casual clothes that somehow made him look more dangerous. Black jeans, white t-shirt, that dragon tattoo on full display. Pretend I just told you something funny, Taejin murmured in English, his accent making the words sound intimate. Like what? Like. Seo-yun showed up at my office yesterday and threw her Hermes bag at my head. Amarachi's laugh was genuine, unguarded. The camera shutter went wild. Perfect, the photographer shouted. That's it. That's the chemistry. Except it wasn't chemistry. It was something real building between two people who'd agreed to fake everything. Over the next month, their lives became a carefully choreographed performance. Coffee dates in Garosugil where paparazzi accidentally photographed them. Weekend trips to Jeju Island with Min Chio trailing behind as bodyguard and chaperone. Late-night Instagram posts showing Amarachi's hand intertwined with Taejin's tattooed fingers. The modeling agencies came calling. Seoul Fashion Institute offered Amarachi a full scholarship, no upfront payment required. Magazine covers. Interview requests. Brand endorsements. But the lines kept blurring. Like when Taejin showed up at 2 a.m. with chicken and soju after her first runway casting, sitting on her apartment floor while she cried about walking in heels. Like when Amarachi convinced him to try jollof rice and he admitted it was better than Korean fried rice, a confession she recorded and threatened to leak to the press. Like when he taught her basic Korean curse words so she could defend herself, and she taught him Igbo phrases that made him stumble over the tonal pronunciation. Like when they fell asleep on his penthouse couch watching Nigerian Nollywood films, and she woke up with his arm around her shoulders, her head on his chest, their breathing synchronized. This isn't real, Amarachi reminded herself constantly. It's a contract. It ends in 4 months. But her heart wasn't listening to her brain anymore. The truth detonated on a Tuesday evening. Seo-yun requested a meeting at an upscale Gangnam cafe. Amarachi went alone, against Taejin's advice. I know it's fake, Seo-yun said in careful English, her hand resting on her 8-month belly. The relationship. Director Han's desperate attempt to salvage Taejin's reputation. Amarachi kept her expression neutral. I don't know what you mean. Please. Seo-yun's laugh was bitter. I know how this industry works. But here's what you don't know, this baby isn't Taejin's. It's Min Chio's. The world tilted. Taejin and I were already broken up when I got pregnant, Seo-yun continued. But the Kang family's reputation couldn't handle the scandal of me sleeping with his second-in-command. So we agreed to a lie. He'd claim the baby publicly, and after birth, we'd quietly separate. Everyone saves face. Then why did you push me off the yacht? Because I saw the way he looked at you, Seo-yun whispered, and for the first time, Amarachi saw genuine pain in her eyes. Even when we were engaged, he never looked at me like that. Like I was oxygen. And I realized I'd lost him completely, not to the fake girlfriend, but to something real. Amarachi left the cafe in a daze. She went straight to Taejin's penthouse, using the key code he'd given her for emergencies. He was in his home office, reviewing documents. When he saw her expression, he immediately stood. She told you, he said quietly. Were you ever going to tell me the truth? Yes. When the contract ended. I didn't want to complicate things. Complicate things. Amarachi's voice broke. Taejin, I've been falling in love with you while thinking you had a baby on the way. The silence stretched between them like a living thing. What did you say? Taejin's voice was barely a whisper. I said I'm falling in love with you, you idiot. And I hate that it's real when everything about us is supposed to be fake. Taijin crossed the room in 3 strides. His hands cupped her face, his thumbs brushing her cheekbones. Amarachi, nothing about this has been fake for me. Not since I pulled you out of that river and you opened your eyes. The contract. Screw the contract. I'm in love with you. Really, terrifyingly in love with you. When he kissed her, it tasted like truth. Like coming home. Like every romantic story she'd ever been told but never believed could happen to a girl from Enugu working 3 jobs in a foreign country. They broke apart breathless. So what now? Amarachi asked. Now we tell the truth. All of it. The fake relationship, Seoyun's baby, everything. Your reputation. I don't care about my reputation. I care about you. About building something real that doesn't require contracts or lies. The press conference happened 2 days later. Taijin stood beside Amarachi, their hands intertwined, and told Seoul the truth. Yes, the relationship had started as a publicity arrangement. Yes, the baby wasn't his. Yes, he'd been living a lie. But somewhere between the performance and reality, between the photo shoots and the late-night conversations, between the fake and the authentic, they'd fallen genuinely, messily, completely in love. The internet exploded. Some condemned them. Some celebrated them. But Amarachi and Taijin stopped reading the comments. 6 months later, Amarachi walked in Seoul Fashion Week, wearing a dress she designed herself, while Taijin watched from the front row beside her brother Chidiebere, who'd flown in from his university in Nigeria for the show. Her mother's diabetes was under control. Her father had a new taxi. Her dreams were no longer drowning. And the man who'd saved her from the Han River had become the man who'd saved her life in every way that mattered. Sometimes fate rescues you from drowning. Sometimes the rescue is just the beginning of the real love story. The end. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share to your friends and family. Stay tuned. Legacy Africa loves you. BYE.